Shalom, shalom, everybody. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Wednesday class, May 20th, 2020. So what we're going to do is have a moment of silence, and then we're going to go into a prayer, then go into the class. O Lord, I pray unto thee, my God, we make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping this covenant and mercy to them that love thee and them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of face, as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass, that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil has come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas and the Caribbean and Britain. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, that thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, and thy people, and thine holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, and cause thy face to shine upon this sanctuary and thy people for thy sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do. Defer not for thine own sake. O my Lord, for thy people and your land need you desperately at this hour. Shalom. Okay, so anybody have any current events? No current events. Did anybody see that video where make Africa great with the come together and be willing to give up their sovereignty in order for the whole of Africa to be prosperous? So, like I was saying before, you can see how the Most High is moving and all that because he's getting ready to bring us over there, and he's bringing all those peace. He's causing those people to come together and be unified because that's going to be where we're going to be at for a time, before we leave from there and go back to the land. So we can see him bringing unity among the African leaders in order to make that a more safer place for his people when he delivers. So I didn't get the name of that video, but I'll find it before we get off the phone. If you just go to Make Africa Great Again, it should be the latest video that they uploaded.
Yeah, you can tell that's been the agenda for a while. And it's just a matter of time before it actually happens because, how they did that whole, what was it called, the currency, the free trade agreement.
Yeah, right.
And they got all of them to drop their sovereignty then.
Right, exactly. And then it's like it's a hidden hand behind the scenes got them doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. You can see it, and when it do happen, it's going to be all of a sudden overnight because of the process in which they it's going so fast. Like I said, you're going to look up and we're going to be on the west coast of Africa before you know it. That's how fast it's going to happen. Right. So let me go to the book of Jasher. 42, I think. Okay. I'm in Joshua 42. We'll start reading 42 and 1. It says, and they went and sat on the opposite side about the distance of a bow shot, and they sat there and ate bread, and while they were eating, they held counsel together what was to be done with him, whether to slay him or to bring him back to his father. They were holding counsel when they lifted up their eyes and saw, and behold, there was a company of Ishmaelites coming at a distance by the road of Gilead, going down to Egypt. And Judah said unto them, what gain will it be to us if we slay our brother? Peradventure God will require him for us. This being is the counsel proposed concerning him, which you shall do unto him. Behold, this company of Ishmaelites going down into Egypt. Now therefore come, let us dispose of him to them, and let not our hand be upon him. And they will lead him along with them, and he will be lost among the people of the land, and we will not put him to death with our own hands. And the proposal pleased his brethren, and they did according to the word of Judah. And while they were discording about this matter, and before the company of Israelites had come up to them, 7 trading men of Midian passed by them, and as they passed, they were thirsty, and they lifted up their eyes and saw the pit in which Joseph was immersed, and they looked, and behold, every species of bird was put upon him. And these Midianites ran to the pit to drink water, for they thought that it contained water. And on coming before the pit, they heard the voice of Joseph crying and weeping in the pit. And they went down into the pit, and they saw, and behold, there was a youth of comely appearance and well favored. And they called unto him and said, who art thou, and who brought thee hither, and who placed thee in this pit in the wilderness? And they all assisted to raise up Joseph, and they drew him out and brought him up from the pit, and took him and went away on their journey, and passed by his brethren. And he said unto them, why did you do this, to take our servant from us, and to go away? Surely we placed this youth in the pit because he rebelled against us. And you come to bring him up and lead him away. Now then, give us back our servant. And the Midianites answered and said unto the sons of Jacob, is this your servant, or does this man attend you? Peradventure you are all his servants, for he is more comely and well favored than any of you. And why do you all speak falsely unto us? Now therefore we will not listen to your words, nor attend to you, for we found the youth in the pit in the wilderness, and we took him. We will therefore go on. And all the sons of Jacob approached them, and rose up to them, and said unto them, give us back our servant, and why will ye all die by the edge of the sword? And the Midianites cried out against them, and they drew their swords, and approached to fight with the sons of Jacob. And behold, Simeon rose up from his seat against them, and sprung upon the ground, and drew his sword, and approached the Midianites. And he gave a terrible shout before them, so that his shouting was heard in the distance, and the earth shook as Simeon shouted. And the Midianites were terrified on account of Simeon and the noise of his shouting, and they fell upon their faces and were excessively alarmed. And Simeon said unto them, verily, I, Simeon, the son of Jacob, the Hebrew, who have only with my brother destroyed the city of Shechem and the cities of the Amorites, so shall God moreover do unto me, that if all your brethren, the people of Midianites, and all the kings of Canaan were to come with you, they could not fight against me. Now therefore give us back the youth whom you have taken, lest I give your flesh to the birds of the skies and the beasts of the earth. And the Midianites were more afraid of Simeon, and they approached the sons of Jacob with terror and fight, and with pathetic words, saying, surely you have said that the young man is your servant, and that he rebelled against you. Therefore you placed him in a pit. What then will you do with a servant who rebelled against his master? Now therefore sell him unto us, and we will give you all that you require for him. And the Lord was pleased to do this in order that the sons of Jacob should not slay their brother. And the Midianites saw that Joseph was of a comely appearance and well favored. They desired him in their hearts and were urgent to purchase him for his brothers. And the sons of Jacob hearkened to the Midianites, and they sold their brother Joseph to them for 20 pieces of silver. And Reuben their brother was not with them. And the Midianites took Joseph and continued their journey to Gilead. They were going along the road, and the Midianites repented of what they had done in having purchased the young man. And one said to the other, "What is this thing that we have done, and taking this youth from the Hebrews, who is of comely appearance and well favored? And perhaps this youth is stolen from the land of the Hebrews. And why then have we done this thing? If he should be sought for and found in our hands, we shall die through him. Now surely hardy and powerful men have sold him to us, strength of one of whom you saw this day, perhaps they stole him from his land with their might and with their powerful arm, and have therefore sold him to us for a small value which we gave unto them." And while they were thus discording together, they looked, and behold, the company of Israelites which were coming at first, in which the sons of Jacob saw, were advancing toward the Midianites. And the Midianites said to each other, "Come, let us sell this youth to the company of Ishmaelites who are coming toward us, and we will take for him the little that we have gave for him, and we will be delivered from his evil." And they did so, and they reached the Israelites, and the Midianites sold Joseph to the Israelites for 20 pieces of silver, which they had given for him to his brethren. And the Midianites went on their road to Gilead, and the Israelites took Joseph, and they let him ride upon one of the camels, and they were leading him to Egypt. And Joseph heard that the Israelites were proceeding to Egypt, and Joseph lamentated and wept at this thing, that he was to be so far removed from the land of Canaan, from his father. And he wept bitterly while he was riding upon the camel. And one of their men observed him and made him to go down from the camel and walk on foot. And notwithstanding this, Joseph continued to cry and weep. And he said, "O my father, my father." And one of the Ishmaelites rose up and smote Joseph upon the cheek. And still he continued to weep. And Joseph was fatigued in the road and was unable to proceed on account of the bitterness of his soul. And they all smote him and afflicted him in the road. And they terrified him in order that he might not cease from weeping, that he might cease from weeping. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. So did that ring a bell with anybody? What I just read?
Yeah, supposedly they were when Jesus was on the road, when they had arrested him and they beat him, and then it's saying 20 pieces of silver. That's what that's reminding me of. So
what that remind you of?
Jesus, the crucifixion, supposedly.
Right. That's right. So this, you see where they got it from. It says,
right.
26. Joseph heard that the Israelites were proceeding to Egypt. That Jesus went to Egypt. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Joseph wept at this thing, that he was to be so far removed from the land of Canaan from his father. We didn't know this, but until we got the book of Jasher. So from his father, and he wept bitterly while he was riding upon the camel. And one of their men observed him and made him go down from the camel and walk on foot. And notwithstanding this, Joseph continued to cry and weep. And he said, "Oh, my father, my father." Ain't that what Jesus said on the cross?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 27. And one of the Israelites rose up and smote Joseph on the cheek. Ain't that what they did to Jesus?
Yep.
And still he continued to weep. And Joseph was fatigued in the road and was unable to proceed on account of the bitterness of his soul. When Jesus was walking with the cross and fell down, anybody that watched the Passion of the Christ, he fell down, couldn't go no further. And the guy came and helped him, Simeon or Simon. Okay? And they all smote him and afflicted him in the road. Same thing with Jesus. And it terrified him in order that he might cease from weeping. This is where they're getting it from right here. That's why these books ain't in there. Because this is where formulated a story from these events. Okay, and then 28 says, and the Lord saw the ambition of Joseph and his trouble, and the Lord brought down upon these men darkness and confusion, and the hand of everyone that smote him became withered. And they said to each other, what is this thing that God has done to us in the road? And they knew not that this befell them on account of Joseph. And the men proceeded on the road, and they passed along the road of Ephrath, where Rachel was buried. And Joseph reached his mother's grave, and Joseph hastened and ran to his mother's grave and fell upon the grave and wept. And Joseph cried aloud upon his mother's grave, and he said, O my father, O my mother, O thou who didst give me birth, awake now and arise and see thy son, how he has been sold for a slave, and no one to pity him. O rise and see thy son, weep with me on account of my troubles, and see the heart of my children. So what we read right here is the same thing that's happening to Joseph happened to us collectively later on through the transatlantic slave trade. I'm going to read 31 again. It says, Joseph cried aloud upon his mother's grave and said, O my mother, O that thou wouldst give, O thou who didst give me birth, awake now and rise and see thy son, how he has been sold for a slave, and no one pities him. That's what happened to us. Oh, rise and see thy son. Weep with me on account of my troubles, Jacob's trouble, and see the heart of my brethren. Arise, my mother. Arouse, my mother. Arouse, awake from thy sleep from me, and direct thy battles against my brethren. Oh, how have thou stripped me of my coat, and sold me already twice for a slave, and separated me from my father, and there is no one to pity me. Arouse and lay thy cause against them before God, and see whom God will justify in judgment, and whom he will condemn. Rise, O my mother, rise, awake from the sleep, and see my father, how his soul is with me this day, and comfort him and ease his heart. And Joseph continued to speak these words, and Joseph cried aloud and wept bitterly upon his mother's grave, and he ceased speaking, and from bitterness of heart he became still as a stone upon a grave. And Joseph heard a voice speaking to him from beneath the ground, which answered him with bitterness of heart, and with a voice of weeping and praying in these words, my son Joseph, I have heard the voice of thy weeping, and the voice of thy lamentations. I have seen thy tears. I know thy trouble, my son, and it grieves me for thy sake, and abundant grief is added to my grief. Now therefore, my son Joseph, my son, hope to the Lord, and wait for him, and do not fear, for the Lord is with thee. He will deliver thee from all thy troubles. Rise, my son, go down unto Egypt with thy master, and do not fear, for the Lord is with thee, my son. And she continued to speak like unto these words unto Joseph, and she was still. And Joseph heard this, and he wondered greatly at this, and he continued to weep. And after this, one of the Israelites observed him crying and weeping upon the grave, and his anger was kindled against him, and he drove him from there, and he smote him and cursed him. And Joseph said unto the men, may I find grace in your sight, take me back to my father's house, and he will give you abundance of riches. And they answered him, saying, art thou not a slave, and where is thy father? And if thou hast a father, thou wouldst not already twice have been sold for a slave for so little value. Their anger was still aroused against him, and they continued to smite him and to chastise him, and Joseph wept bitterly. All this happened to Jesus. And the Lord saw Joseph's affliction, and the Lord again smote these men and chastised them, and the Lord ceased, caused darkness to envelop them upon the earth, and the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and the earth shook at the voice of the thunder, and all the mighty wind, and the men were terrified and knew not where they should go. So my question is, when Jesus supposedly gave up the ghost. Once he gave up the ghost, what happened?
It got dark and lightning and thunder and stuff.
Right, exactly. Right. 38. Son, my son, Joseph, I have heard the voice of thy weeping and the voice of thy lamentations. I have seen thy tears and know thy troubles, my son, and it grieves me for thy sake, and abundant grief is added to my grief. Now therefore, my son, Joseph, my son, hope to the Lord, and wait for him, and do not fear, for the Lord is with thee. He will deliver thee from all trouble. Rise, my son, go down unto Egypt with thy masters, and do not fear, for the Lord is with thee, my son. And she continued to speak like unto these words unto Joseph, and she was still. And Joseph heard this, and he wondered greatly at this, and he continued to weep. And after this, one of the Israelites observed him crying and weeping upon the grave, and his anger was kindled against him, and he drove him from thence, and he smote him and cursed him. And Joseph said unto the man, May I find grace in thy sight? Did I read this already?
Yeah.
And Joseph said unto me, May I find grace in your sight, and take me back to my father's house, and he will give you abundance. And they answered him, saying, Art thou not a slave? Where is thy father? And if thou have a father, thou would have not already twice been sold for a slave for a little value. And their anger was kindled, still roused against him, and they continued to smite him and chastise him, and Joseph wept bitterly. And the Lord saw Joseph's affliction, and the Lord again smote the men and chastised them, and the Lord caused the darkness to envelop them upon the earth, and lightning flashed, and the earth and the thunder roared, and the earth shook at the voice of the thunder and the mighty wind, and the men were terrified and knew not where they should go. And the beast and the camel stood still, and they led them, but they would not go. They smote them, and they crouched upon the ground. And the men said each to other, What is this that God has done to us? What are our transgressions? And what are our sins that this thing has thus befallen us? And one of them answered and said unto them, Perhaps on account of the sin of afflicting the slave has this thing happened this day to us. Now therefore implore him strongly to forgive us, and then we shall know on whose account this evil is befallen us. And if God shall have compassion over us, then we shall know that all this cometh to us on account of the sin of afflicting the slave. And the men did so, and they supplicated Joseph and pressed him to forgive him. And they said, We have sinned to the Lord and to thee. Now therefore vouchsafe to request of thy God that he shall put away this death from among us, for we have sinned to him. And Joseph did approaching according to their words, and the Lord hearkened to Joseph, and the Lord put away the plague which he had inflicted upon those men on account of Joseph. And the beast rose up from the ground, and they conducted them, and they went on, and the raging storm abated, and the earth became tranquilized, and the men proceeded on their journey to go down to Egypt. And the men knew that this evil had befallen them on account of Joseph. And they said to each other, Behold, we know that it was on account of his affliction that this evil befell us. Now therefore, why shall we bring this death upon our souls? Let us hold counsel what to do to the slave. And one answered and said, Surely he told us to bring him back to his father. Now therefore come, let us take him back, and we will go to the place that he will tell us, and take from his family the price that we have given for him, and we will then go away. And one answered again and said, Behold, this counsel is very good, but we cannot do so, for the way is very far from us, and we cannot go out of our road. And one more answered and said unto them, This is the counsel to be adopted. We will not swerve from it. Behold, we are this day going to Egypt, and when we shall have come to Egypt, we will sell him there at a high price, and we will be delivered from this evil. And this thing pleased the men, and they did so, and they continued their journey to Egypt with Joseph. So, like I was saying, when you look at that and you see that, we're in the same predicament now. We see how that all kind of things could have happened to Joseph, but the Most High was with him. and he had plans for Joseph. So did nothing happen to Joseph. So it's the same thing with us. We living under prophecies that have been prophesied on us. So to get all fluttered and bent out of shape behind the things that happen and that's coming, you shouldn't be, because we part of a plan that's that's been prophesied about, and the Most High word is not going to fall to the ground void. So it's only natural and human to get flooded, and be afraid, but you must know that Most High got planned for us. So to get all bent out of shape is, that's not befitting. Yeah. So anybody got any comments on what I read? Comments or questions or anything? No questions.
I have a question. So, obviously the Lord does have that power. I'm sure, but so his mom did speak to him.
No, but I just told about not to expound on it.
Okay. I couldn't. I'm like, I got it. Let me go ahead and ask. Okay, I didn't think so.
Yeah. That's one of those things where Greeks injection into that, because if you go back to what Saul did when he tried to bring Samuel up, so that tell you right there, something ain't right.
Right.
But I just tried not to feel. I just didn't, try not to be so hard on the women. But, yeah.
No, I respect.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm doing is, last night we had that part 2 to they had the bishop on 5 Smooth Stones, his name R.A. Campbell, and it was a doozy. So what I'm gonna do is for the class, I'm just gonna one of the main reasons I'm doing this and dealing with this is to show the people on the line, like a lot of people would assume that they in a certain place and everybody's there's so much knowledge out there that's being hoodwinked, and so everybody's in a certain place. Everybody don't know it. Nobody knows everything, but you in a whole better position than a lot of people. You would think that you're not there, but you're a lot further down the road than you think. And this guy right here is 84 years old, and he's well respected all over the Christian world and the religious world. But we're gonna see if that knowledge is good or what. So what I'm gonna do is they introduced him, so I'm gonna play that first, and then I got different segments I'm gonna play, and then we talk about it. But like I say, you need to hear this. So let me get it. Yeah, you would think that you not that far down the road, but yeah, you're a lot further than you think. So this is when they introduced it.
Your line is open. Just want to welcome you again to this Gospel Network.
Can you hear it good? Can everybody hear it? Hello. Can you understand it?
Not
Can
really.
you understand it? You can't? Okay, let me say it again.
I thank you. I don't take it lightly. And tonight,
you can hear it?
Yes, I can understand.
Okay.
I have a personal thing I'd like to ask you, though, because there's a lot of people. I'm but I would like you to answer a question, even though I know you said you only want to talk about, you wanted to talk about America is a Babylon. I understand that. But I want to ask you a question as a favor of you. A lot of people are saying, what does this have to do with salvation? What does it have to do with Jesus? What does it have to do with Yeshua? What does it have to do with bringing people to the Father? And as a little noise, I don't want to keep saying, last week I said that a whole lot. Please watch the noise, everybody. Okay. Bishop, they're saying, this doesn't have anything to do with my salvation. This doesn't have anything to do with Christ. Will you please share with us the relevance of why everyone needs to know America is a Babylon, or why this topic is even important? Who Babylon is? Why is that important to, how is that important to people's salvation? Before you say anything.
I didn't quite understand your question. I mean, what I was saying that the Most High said that in the book of Isaiah 66 and 19 that He's going to make somebody, a Gentile family, was going to bring his son home on swift beasts and to the land of Israel.
Right. Hold on a second. I don't know if you heard me. Hold on a second. And Elder Rick, are you there?
Yeah, Rick is on our line.
Yeah, I'm here. Please forgive me for that. You said it. And everybody, hold on a second, Bishop, but I just wanted to apologize because I'm going to look fast. Elder Rick is going to be Bishop R.A. Campbell's reader tonight, folks. He is a member of the church there. And Elder Rick, just go and say hello to the people out of respect for you, please.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you for having us on tonight. Peace to everybody. Looking forward to a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. Elder Rick, I really appreciate it. And again, everybody, he's Elder Rick. If you have any questions, comments for him. Bishop Campbell, before you get into the deepness of everything as you did last week, I would like you to address probably no more than about 3 minutes. Those people that say this has nothing to do with salvation, y'all need to keep it simple, keep it Jesus, keep it Yeshua, the people out here need to be saved. Y'all talk about who to be served. I mean, will you comment on that or answer those people, please?
Yeah, okay, now, Rick, give me that, Rick, what he was saying real good.
Well, he wants to know, why it's important to know that America is not Babylon when it comes to our salvation.
Oh, okay. Well, you got to understand salvation is based on who is going to be saved or not. If you're going to be left back, or you're going to be led into the wilderness with the New Testament church. In the book of Revelation, chapter number 12, the Bible said that woman the angel going to take her into the wilderness, which is the New Testament church. And if you're not in that New Testament church with the plan of salvation, you're going to be left back here, and you're going to have to have tribulations quite a long time for your salvation. Your salvation is going to be tested. If we could go to Revelation chapter number 12, where we was at on the radio, Brother Rick, the last 4 verses of chapter number 12, it explains it, the essentiality of salvation with the New Testament church. So if you could read that to our listeners to answer the question.
Okay. Revelation 12.
That would be very important.
Can we start at 14?
Yeah, verse 14.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness and to her place, where she is nourished for a time and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
There you go. There you go. So if you're with that woman, you left behind, and you got to fight for your salvation.
Yeah, so I got a question. It says the dragons sent a flood out of his mouth. So my question to anybody on the line is, well, who is this dragon? Anybody got an answer?
Esau.
Hello? Huh?
I said Esau, Joseph.
Yeah, well, Rome, the fourth beast, is a dragon, and yeah, it's a conglomerate of Esau is heading it, but it's the Gentiles and the Edomites, Japhet and Rome, and Esau that came together, Edom. So it's a dragon. So the reason I'm talking about this is because of when you go back and look at Constantine, and he's the one who created the Catholic Church. He's the one he put all those books that those Edomites had concocted over in Alexandria, Egypt, after the Israelites had been ran out and after they got hold of our records. That's the flood he's talking about. The flood of information, and they started tampering with our information. And so what you have to understand is that a lot of this stuff is like about, and we know at least 10 chapters, 8 to 10 chapters missing out of the book of Daniel. And a lot of that stuff is over in Revelation. And so the flood, the dragon is the fourth beast. The books was obtained by the third beast. And by the time they get to the fourth beast, which is the master Greeks and the Romans, his brothers, by the time they get to them, they already been copying it and plagiarizing it and reading it and doing omissions and adding stuff they wanted to putting their concepts out, synchronizing with their concepts. And by the time they get to the Council of Nicaea with Constantine, that's what they're talking about, the flood. From the dragon sent a flood out to try to encompass the Israelites. Yeah, so let me start that.
You got to fight for it. But if you're with that woman and you've been following her teaching, and you remember the New Testament church, which is the body of Christ, where your salvation is going to be guaranteed for you, because you're going to be in the wilderness with that woman, with the church of the living God. And that woman is the New Testament church, because in chapter number 12, verse number 1 tells you who that woman is. So read the first 4 verses in chapter number 1 of chapter 12. So listen.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another woman in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. neither was their place found any more in heaven.
Okay, it says that I'm quite sure everybody will be familiar with this, because we weren't always Israelites. So it says that this woman that they're talking about was caught up the kid. It was a male child that was born, and this male child was caught up unto God, right? So let's go right quick to Daniel and show you this, the other side of it. We know the Christian side of it. So I'm in Daniel chapter 7, and I'm in verse 9 of chapter 7. Let me know when you get it.
Got it.
It says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down. We in Daniel. I was beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and his hair on his head like the pure wool, and strong like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. And we notice Michael right here, because it says his head and his hair like pure wool, and his throne was like the same person, same being that Daniel saw in chapter 10. And then it says 10, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands upon thousands ministered unto him. Tens of thousands times tens of thousands stood before him, and the judgment was set, and the books were open. And I beheld, then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, this, like I said, this Constantine, the great words of the horn that spoke, and that's when they created the Holy Roman Empire. I beheld till the beast was slain, and his body was destroyed and given to the burning flames. That ain't happened yet. It says, as concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. Then 13, it says that the woman had a male child. He was caught up under God. You would assume that's Jesus. But right here it says, 13, I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him a dominion and a glory and a kingdom, and all people and nations and languages shall serve him, and his dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that shall not be destroyed. So all this what I just read, it's happening in heaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a man being brought before the Most High in heaven. This not Jesus. Well, let's go to 2 Samuel right quick to show you who it is. Second Samuel, chapter 22. You got it?
Yes.
So I'm in 2 Samuel 22, David talking, and he says that verse 2, the 2 Samuel says, and he says, the Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer. Right? We know who the deliverer is, the Lord of hosts, the God of my rock, in him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower and my refuge, my Savior. You know who this is. Thou savest me from violence. I called on the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. When the waves of death compassed me, it's when he died. David dead. So when you read Daniel, David dead. He says, and the waves of death compassed me. The floods of ungodly men made me afraid. And the sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. In my distress, I called upon the Lord. I cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter in his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of the heavens moved and shook, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, fire out of his mouth. devoured, coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, came down, darkness was under his feet, and he rolled upon a cherub, did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind, and he made darkness a pavilion round about him, dark waters, thick clouds of the sky. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered, look at this, the Lord thundered from heaven. He came from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. He sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and discomfited them, and the channels of the sea appeared. The foundations of the world were discovered at the rebuking of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He's doing all this because of David. He sent from above. He took me, brought me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemies and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. Now go back to Daniel chapter 7, verse 11. Let me know when you get it.
No, what book and chapter did you say that was, that you just read?
I was in 2 Samuel chapter 22.
22, okay.
It's when David is telling you what happened to him after he passed away. But the Lord showed it to him in a vision. And he wrote it down for our reading, our edification. So he said they took him. These evil spirits that's on the earth from these giants, when David died and left his body, he was in the spirit. These evil spirits, he's in a dimension. They tried to hold him here because the spirit of Israelite or Hebrew sins. The men that came from Adam, the spirit came from heaven, is going to sin back to heaven, the soul. So they tried to prevent his soul from ascending. And the Most High, the Lord of hosts, came down and got him and brought him back up there. So we're going to go back to chapter 7 of Daniel, verse 11. It says, and behold, then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even to the beast was slain, the fourth beast, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flames. As according to the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night vision, remember what we just read, I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near unto him. Where he coming from? They went and got him in chapter 22. After he died. And brought him up there before the Most High. It said 14, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, and all people and nations and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So we say, well, what you talking about? Well, we're going to go right here right quick. Go back to the video. Psalms 132. Psalm 132. Okay. Let me know when you get it.
Okay.
It's okay. It says, the Lord, that's Michael. Remember David and all his affliction, how he swore unto the Lord and vowed unto the mighty God of Jacob. Surely I will not come into the tabernacle of my house, nor into my bed. I will not give sleep to mine eyes, or slumber to mine eyelids, until I find out a place for the Lord, a habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. Lo, we heard it in Ephesus. We found it in the fields of the wood. We will go into the tabernacle. We will worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, in thy rest, thou and the ark of thy strength. Let the priests be clothed with righteousness, and let thy saints shout for joy. For thy servant David's sake, turn not away thy face of thine anointed. David is the anointed. That means the Messiah. That's all Messiah means. So he's telling you right here who the Messiah is. 11. The Lord hath sworn in his truth. The Lord hath sworn in truth unto David. He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of his body will I set upon thy throne. That's all the kings that's in Israel that rule came out of David's loins. If thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony that I shall teach them, their children shall also sit upon the throne forever. For the Lord hath chosen Zion. He hath desired it for his habitation. Back to what I said about that great city. This is the great city right here, Zion, that they're talking about. For the Lord hath chosen Zion. And can't be no greater city than that if the Lord chose it. This is the city he chose. He hath desired it for his habitation. This is my rest forever. Here will I dwell. See that? So if you're looking for the great city, it's where the Lord is. If I have desired it, I will abundantly bless her provisions. I will satisfy her poor with bread. I will also clothe her priests with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. There will I make the horn. So this place, this city, Zion, there will I make the horn of David to bud. David did. So the horn of David is his soul. The horn of David to bud. That means resurrect. You're going to take the body, the soul, put it back in the body that went to the dust. You're going to bring that back on David's bones and put David back in his body in Ezekiel 37. It says, there will I make the horn of David to bud. I will ordain a lamp, that's the soul, for mine anointing. His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon him shall his crown flourish. So that's what we just read in Daniel. The dominion. He's a king. So it's an everlasting dominion. So this is the person that was brought near to the Ancient of Days in Daniel chapter 7, what I just read. It's David. I had to make that plain, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so let me go back to the video because you know, this guy right here is, so like I said, it has nothing to do with the Gentile. So what we just read and the understanding that we just got. Now listen to what he's about to say.
Yeah, now that's it. See, now that's the New Testament church. That's that New Testament church that offers salvation. See, don't nobody else offer no salvation right now. But that New Testament church with that woman having that man-child that's going to rule over all the Gentiles and everybody else, which is Jesus Christ, what we call Jesus Christ. So salvation is very important, you know. And if you're not in the New Testament church with the church of Jesus Christ, then you're going to be left back here. And you're going to suffer tribulation 10 days. Okay, so you got to get in that church. Now that church was a Jewish church first, because
you said the Jewish church first.
3,000 souls were added on the day of Pentecost, and then God gave the Gentiles the opportunity to come in through the Apostle Paul.
Okay, so let's look at Acts. Yeah, I gotta do this. Let's go to Acts right quick. I want to show you something. So anybody know where the day of Pentecost is?
Acts chapter 2.
What's it?
Is it Acts chapter 2, the day of Pentecost?
Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so let's look at it. So it says, okay, in chapter 2, verse 1 says, and when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house that they were seated. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like the fire, and it sat upon them, and they were all filled with the Holy Ghost, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there was, look at this, this is one point I want to make. 5, and there was dwelling at Jerusalem devout men out of every nation under heaven. So ain't that where the Most High scattered them? Hello? Didn't he scatter the Israelites?
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah. Are they gathered back yet?
Nope.
Look what it say. And there was dwelling at Jerusalem devout men out of every nation under heaven. So what he telling you, they didn't regather. You see that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this. Go to Daniel, chapter 9, verse 25. You got it?
Got it.
Yes.
So we know what 26 is talking about, the Messiah. We know who that is. That was Zerubbabel. But 26 says, and after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself and the people of the prince that shall come. So Zerubbabel was cut off when they got back for 2 years. Then when building the temple, then they started back. They built the temple, but the people started back sinning like they did would cause them to go to Babylon. And that's what brought Antioch Epiphanes. And so that's what he's talking about right here. It says, not for himself, and the people of the prince that shall come, that's Antioch Epiphanes, shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. We just talked about the flood, the full beast, and council their sea and all that, and unto the end wars and desolation. So he said right here, 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Antioch Epiphanes did that. In the midst of the week, he shall cause sacrifices and the oblation to cease. See that? To cease. And for the overspreading of abomination, he shall make it desolate. That means this desolation is going to be until the Most High come back. We're still waiting on that. So even until the consummation and that determined shall the end be upon the desolate. So that's happened. So that abomination that make it desolate still in existence to the day. So, but we over here in Acts chapter 2, verse 5, and it says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. So they've been regathered. So this wicked scribes let you know. So in order for Jesus to do his thing, which we know they concocted him, in order for him to do his thing, he got to bring the Jews back, and they ain't came back. We still scattered right now. But he's telling you right here, they all back in the land from out of every country under heaven. So you see the lie?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to show you that. So let me then go back to talking.
That's the New Testament church. Ain't no other church in the Bible but the New Testament church of Jesus Christ. That's where your salvation is at. Okay. Now Israel was the first members of that New Testament church, the children of Israel. Okay. 3,000 souls saved on the day of Pentecost. You know. And they got baptized in the name of that name.
We scattered now. Listen to what he's saying, but we scattered. They're on the west coast of Africa. And they scattered all over in all the countries. And the Epiphanes scattered them.
Yahshua the Messiah, who we call Jesus Christ, and they received the Holy Spirit, And that's what you got now. You got to get it now. Now, natural Israel is going to be, that New Testament church is going to represent spiritual Israel, but natural Israel is going to be picked up by Yahshua Messiah, and but they are not in the New Testament church yet. Only a remnant is in the New Testament church right now. So that's what's going on.
Interesting. Let me just say this, Pastor Cook, I don't see him. If you're in the house, I'll say press 1. John, if you have a question, don't do nothing. If you do have a question, don't do nothing. If you don't have a question, press 1, John Clark. Bishop, I want to say this, because I know people are thinking this. Again, you got people tuning in all levels. And, hold on. Brother Noah line for some reason. Brother Noah, your line is up. For some reason I had you muted. You can hear the show if you put the comments, but I don't think you probably had a comment. But anyway, Bishop R.A. Campbell, again, thank you for tuning in or accepting the invitation to being on the show. There are people listening to you right now, and when you say this woman carrying the saints into the wilderness, can you make that as your friend, Elder Murray? You know Elder Murray from Christ Emmanuel? Do you know her? Elder Murray from Christ Emmanuel? What do you say, right? Do you know Elder Mary from Christ Emmanuel? You remember Elder Mary, your friend from Christ Emmanuel? Elder Mary.
Yeah, the church, Christ Emmanuel was a church over here. And, But hold on, Main Street.
She has a son, and I would talk to the Israelites, folks that are learned in that area in terms of who we are. They believe that a remnant is first going to go into a wilderness. And they oftentimes quote that passage. I'm going to say it again. There are Israelites that believe we, African Americans, are one of the lost tribes, and we are. They believe that a remnant of them, obedient remnant of them, is going to go into the wilderness prior to going to Israel. I'm not saying my beliefs right now. I'm trying to be a moderator. I'm trying to think like the person that's not going to press one, because that's what makes for a good show. That's how you get people to keep listening. If you answer their questions, a lot of people have come on this show and have said those very words. Callers, and even in my personal life, people who believe many of us is going to have this wilderness experience, and they quote that passage, whereas you're saying is typology. So elaborate, please.
Well, let's go again. I think let's go again. The New Testament church was set up in 70 and 30 A.D. In 31 A.D., Yahshua Messiah, who we call Jesus, set up the New Testament church on the day of Pentecost. Now, we're going to be keeping Pentecost this month on the 31st. We're going to be keeping Pentecost.
Thank you for that reminder.
Now,
Brother John, I thought you didn't have a question. You actually do have a question. So
I want you to pay attention to this exchange right here between the moderator of Five Smooth Stones and Brother Campbell. Bishop Campbell.
Actually, let me give a foundation to the statement I'm about to make. Because I've never met Bishop Campbell, and I definitely want him and everyone that supports him to understand that we may see things differently, but by no stretch of the imagination would I consider the fact that a different position would be something that's disrespectful. It's just a different position. And so with that being said, initially, I wanted to quickly state that the question that you put on the table, which is people who would say, what does the question of who the whore is, mystery Babylon, what does that have to do with salvation? And the fact is that it has nothing to do with salvation. Salvation is a very foundational principle, such as the laying on of hands and things of that sort. And we've just simply moved on beyond that, as you stated it in the beginning of your show. Persons who do not know who Mystery Babylon is, they likely will have a hard time being able to decipher the season of what to take place during the time that, hey, the Messiah is about to come. You may not be able to understand that because you don't know who is who is whom. And so from a standpoint of salvation, if you died not knowing that, your salvation is still intact. You just may have died earlier because you did not know what to do, because you didn't know where you were or where you should be. One of the things that the bishop stated that I wanted to address, one of the things that I wanted to address that the bishop stated in Revelations 12, the bishop was saying that the woman was the New Testament church. And I respectfully state that in Revelations 12, and the brother read it, one moment, Revelations 12, verse 5, it says, "And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne." The bishop stated plainly that this was the Lord of glory, none other than Jesus, Yeshua, Yehoshua, however it is that one may enunciate his name. We know to him to be the Son of God. I would respectfully submit that at the time that this woman gives birth to the son, that the church had not been created yet, which means that woman, that very woman, was none other than Israel, physical Israel, or natural Israel, as the bishop states. And the reason why we know that is because the church was not created until after the Son of God was crucified, and as the bishop stated in Acts, again, post-crucifixion, that's when the church was born. Well, this takes place, the birth of the Messiah takes place during the time that church is not in place yet. So that very woman that we're speaking about, that's Israel, because Jesus came out of Israel, not out of the church. He created the church, but he was born from a long line of Israelites, and you can go back through that genealogy and see that he was a Hebrew, as were all of the apostles. They were Hebrews. It was a Hebrew.
Sir, that's what you're talking about. It's not even in the Bible. But you get that thing, it's nowhere in the Bible. It's nowhere in the Bible.
I just read Revelation 12.
No, it's not nowhere in the Bible. If you would let me teach you something for a minute and be quiet, you're going to learn something. I ain't going to be on the radio if you don't know what you're talking about. Let me just...
Mr. Campbell. I always tried to give you the respect I could, but I'm just the one. Bishop Campbell.
What kind of reading he just said? You can't read what he said.
Okay, Bishop Campbell, I heard John is on roll. Bishop Campbell, you got...
Okay, so what do you think? Yeah. So like I was saying before, you keep hearing people I encounter over and over again keep saying that why we can't get along, why we can't do this and we can't do that. So in the midst of Most High waking us up like he promised, like I said, there's no need to get no tight about nothing because we've been prophesied about. Just like I showed you with Joseph. There wasn't nobody going to do nothing, but you see the Most High behind the scenes, Jacob, his brothers wanted to kill him. Then they looked up and saw the Ishmaelites coming. Who you think brought the Ishmaelites? Yahweh. They cut them off. They was going to kill him. Then the Midianites came and got him. They was going to kill him. Then the Most High sent the Israelites and they cut him off. So this Joseph was in prophecy. He wasn't nothing to happen to him. He started working his jelly all through there and got him to Potiphar's house. And then after he got to Potiphar's house, then he looked after him in the jailhouse. When he got out of the jailhouse, the next thing you know, he was second in command under the Pharaoh. So we've been prophesied about. Ain't nothing going to help us. Let me read that right quick. You ain't got to go there. But it's in Isaiah 44. That's where I'm going. It's a witness. Isaiah 44 says, and this is what I mean by there's no need to get uptight. You're going to get scared. You know, you're going to sweat a little bit, but you got to know that we've been prophesied about. So just like he did with Joseph, he's going to do with us. 44 says, yet hear, O Jacob, talking to us, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. See that? He chose Joseph. He chose Isaac. Abraham was going to kill Isaac. Did he kill him? No. He showed up. So, verse 2, thus says the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. I will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou just whom I have chosen, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty. Floods upon dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed and my blessings upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourse. One shall say, I am the Lord's. Another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, surnamed himself Israel. So he already told you right here in prophecy that he's going to help us. But didn't he help Joseph? And didn't he help Isaac? Didn't he help David? Saul was trying to kill him, running him all over Israel trying to kill him. And so he already told us that he's going to help us. So my point is this. What you see in the midst of this prophecy of Isaiah 44, 1 through 5, is being they trying to usurp it with the Christianity. That was one of the purposes of these higher powers, because they was behind the Council of Nicaea when they formed it and formed this Catholic Church. These people coming out of that system, when the Most High is working his jelly with his people, waking them up, they come and bring that spirit over here with the Israelites. That's what a drama coming in is. They're trying to bring those doctrines over here with what the Most High doing, and he's walking the dog with us, taking us to the scriptures. He digging up scriptures. He digging up books to give us the truth. And then you got these people coming from over there with this spirit where, with this prideful spirit. And they got titles, labels, and all this that you got to adhere to. And that's where the drama coming in with the Israelites. And you got to be able to discern that. Yeah. So now, you saw what he just done to the dude. He called the guy an idiot. So now we're going to go to cap that off. We're going to go to I had a question for him. And we're going to see what the answer is. Okay. Here we go.
So we appreciate that. And I know everybody didn't get all that. Remember, folks, these shows are recorded. Send it to Bishop Girl. All this is recorded. You can listen to it, and you can send it to your friends as well. So listen, at this time I want to open up the panel and just see if they have anything to share. Eliana, I want you to go first if you don't mind. Your line is open. Bella, sure, your line is now open. Brother Leonard, we hadn't heard from you in a while. So I'll tell you what, let's do this out of thanks, Brother Leonard, because we haven't heard from him in a while. Brother Leonard and Pastor Chris, we hadn't heard from. So let's do this. Brother Leonard, why don't you go first with the bishop, Pastor Chris, and then we'll go to Sister Eliana. Sure, we'll do it in that order. So at this time, Brother Leonard, your line is now open. Go ahead and share what you have with the bishop, please. Brother Leonard? Okay, Brother Leonard, it's not his line. I'm moving on quickly. Hold on, I opened the wrong line. My bad. Okay, now your line is open, Brother Leonard. Sorry about that. Go ahead, sir. Your line is open now. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted him to break down Zechariah 4:10. Explain it to me. I want him to break down Zechariah 4:10. Let's read that right quick before we go into it. We done went over this 1,000 times. Like, remember, like I said, you would assume that you don't know that much. But let's look at this. Zechariah 4:10 says, "For whoever despises the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and see in the plummet of the hands of Zerubbabel with those 7. They are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro in the whole earth." So I got 2 questions before I turn this back on. Who is Zerubbabel?
The last king. The king.
Okay, the king that the Most High used to bring the Israelites back when they left Babylon. That's who Zerubbabel is. He's out to see the David. And the 7, who is the 7 that's in that verse?
7 holy ones.
7 holy angels that was in the very beginning, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So I just posed this question to this brother, and he's all over. He's respected. They rolling that carpet for him all over the place.
Bishop, did you hear that? Zechariah 4:10. We're gonna. That's what
Zechariah 4:10.
What verse did he read?
What
verse did he read?
10.
Zechariah 4:10.
Yes.
Please. Zechariah 4:10. For who have despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those 7. They are the eyes of the Lord, which run to and fro through the whole earth.
Well, that's talking about, again, I told you, Babylon is 1,000 years old. It's Babylon, it only means that it's against God. It's against God. That word Babylon means that against God. I keep telling you, it's 1,000 years old. It ain't just started here lately. It's been going on ever since Nebuchadnezzar. So it's in Ezekiel, it's in Isaiah, it's in Daniel, it's in all the prophets, and it's all through the Bible, all through the Old Testament, because it was designed. It means that we're against the Most High. It's a Babylon. It means that we is against the Most High. It's that woman that set in dust. That woman set in dust in the Old Testament is Babylon. That's the doctrine of that's contrary to Jesus, to the Most High God. See, that's what that means in Ezekiel. That God is looking at God see him, but he gonna end up destroying Babylon, but it won't be no more. He gonna burn the thing down in the book of Revelation. All that in the Old Testament was the prophecy of Babylon. And Revelation is the closing. He told Daniel, close up the book and don't say no more about it. And John opened up the book in the book of Revelation. Okay, Daniel was the one that testified that we're going to be running to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. And we're going to see Babylon that's going to come up. But God says, close up the book, don't write no more. But John opened the book up in Revelation. So I can explain what Daniel wrote down. Bishop.
Yeah. Wait.
When you answer these questions, do me a favor. I want you to try to answer it in like 3 minutes so we can go to another question. Otherwise, hold on a second. You're going to have to do it that way. Because otherwise, if you answer those questions, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I got 4 people people that probably have a question. They're going to be short. They all going to talk less than a minute. Well, they're going to talk less than a minute.
So in other words, when somebody asks me a question, I'm going to just answer it real quick.
Absolutely. So we can get all the questions. So, Brother Leonard, quickly. Is that, when you answer your question, you don't have to go talk for 5 minutes on what you meant, but can you give us a little bit more feedback? Is that kind of what you're looking for quickly?
Yeah, well, I was actually wanting to know who those 7 was at the end of the verse.
The 7? Yeah, I didn't understand the question yet. Read that question, Rick, out so I can understand what the gentleman's asking us.
He's talking about those 7 in verse 10. Who was those 7?
Who was the 7 people?
Yeah, in this verse. Who was the 7? It says, and I'll read it again. Who have despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those 7.
That was the 7 was the enemy that was speaking against the Most High. The 7 was speaking against the Most High. 7 is his perfect number, and these 7 were speaking against him, and then that's mean the Most High in the 7 that was speaking against him about when he showed Ezekiel that this is Babel, what they're doing. The one that he showed was the one that was speaking against the Most High.
Okay. Anybody got any comments? What do you think about that?
Wow.
Now you see what I mean by prophets of awakening?
All he had to do was say, I don't know.
Right. Huh?
Simplest answer.
Do you see that? Do you see that, though?
Yeah.
Well, now you see what a drummer's coming at with Israel? Yeah, and so you can't like it's no different. Like I was having a discussion last night on the men's line on the Yahoo project that what's the difference? He gave us all these stories for a reason because, like Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. So we getting ready to come out of here in America. So when he delivered our forefathers from Egypt, there was all kind of stuff going on in Egypt. Egypt was the most technically advanced place in the world. And they had been there for 400-some years where they had all these ideologies caught up in their head that Isaac and Abraham and their forefathers knowing them and Enoch wasn't doing. They had been, so when he brought them out of there, you had most of the Israelites were still caught up with that. They wanted to go back to Egypt. They kept whining and complaining in the wilderness. So how much more so you think there is now? We've been over here. We've been disconnected from Israel for 2,500 years. And we've been over here over 400. So you have to understand nothing that we have, pretty much nothing that we have was the truth. And that's the reason why the Most High tells us in Isaiah 44 and 1-5, He's gonna help us. And He's doing that. He uncovering these books. And He's raising up people that understand it. And have designed it. And then, but with the church, it's all about being puffed up. They got all these people. They just, they just build them up. They exalt them too much, and they don't have the proper understanding. They don't have no understanding. Most I didn't call them out. They went to a seminary, and like I said, wasn't no seminary in the desert. When for 40 years when Moses was in the desert, he ain't leave Egypt and go out the desert to a seminary. Come on. So that's that other knowledge that the Most High told us not to deal with. That's in these seminaries. That's what these people got. He chopped that out. Look how he chopped that all up, and he got thousands and thousands of people dealing with him. You got all kind of Israelites that seeking the truth. The Most High them stir their spirit up. This is what they get. Right. Come on. Huh? Ain't that something? So like I
they
said,
never seen the word Zerubbabel before because he butchered that name.
Yeah, right. He butchered that, but that's what I'm saying about it's a format that has to be established to just have an open dialogue. But it's the spirit that's in these people. That's what it is. It's coming out now that we're waking up. The church is being dismantled, and these people, because they puffed up, they want to filtrate over to where the new thing is at, but they bringing all that garbage with them.
Mm-hmm.
You a bishop and a teacher over there, but you ain't no bishop and teacher over here.
Right.
See, and that's what that is. That's what's going on. That's what the drama coming, and they continue to hollering about why we can't all get along. We can't get along because you bring in some more mixed up doctrine, and you ain't thinking like a Hebrew Israelite, and you got people over here that's thinking like a Hebrew Israelite, and the Most High Spirit upon them. That's what a drama is. Yeah. So, with that being said, anybody got any comments?
I do. I think that it's one or two things that's happening. Either it's not for them to understand, or it's just that they haven't humbled themselves and asked for understanding. Because if you search the scriptures, they ask for understanding, and therefore they haven't done that, and so therefore they don't get it. Because Christ, the manual, come on.
Right.
You search out a manual and what he means,
Right, exactly, and that's what a drama coming in. It's nice. Like I said before, look what Moses had to do to the people when they came out of Egypt. He had to call the Levites together and assemble them, and they had to go in and kill half of them, most of them, and then he came and called them up on the mountain, and then he said, "Those that are with me come up here, and the ones that didn't come, Most High open the earth up, and the earth swallowed them up."
Right.
So my thing is, it's no different than now. It's like 3 or 4 fold now, because it's been 2,500 years, and the stuff that's going on in America, it squashes the stuff that's going on in Egypt because of the technology. And so, how much more so? These people ain't gonna never get it. They stumbling blocks. But my point is this anyway, was that you see this, you see that you're not so far behind the curve that you think. Because you gather information, but you gathering the right information.
Right.
That's a big difference.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I had this little. Anybody got any more comments?
Mm-hmm.
No more comments?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I had this right here I wanted to read. It's trying to connecting the dots. It says Mary met a man by the well in the New Testament. Daniel met a certain man by the river Hedekal in the Tanakh. Clothing linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Upas, his body like beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet as the color of polished brass, and the voice of his words were like the voice of a multitude. This man was an angel, the great prince of Israel. That's Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. The Redeemer of Israel, that's Isaiah 44:6. The Holy One of Israel, and the first the first angel, spirit formed by Yahweh. That's in Isaiah 43:18. So like I said, this how they operate. They use parallels, but when you have the right understanding, the parallels don't add up. Because like I say, the person that they showed you that Mary met by the well was the image that they showed us as a white man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so they want to flip the powers that be, and these people that have been indoctrinated by them want you to, all of a sudden they want to say that it's a black man. But the story and the whole scenario of the story, it shows you from time immemorial, he's a white man with long hair, with piercing blue eyes. And then, so if you change his skin color, what does that mean? It don't mean nothing. It's still the same dude, the same ideology. It's the same dude. And it ain't working no more. So that's not the same man that Daniel met. And we know that the man that Daniel met and described as the man is our Redeemer and our Deliverer. Not the same man. Yeah. So anyway, with that being said, I was going to read out a song, and then I was going to close out. Okay. I'm going to read Psalm 1. It says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of the water, that bringeth forth his fruit in its season. His leaves also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Okay. So verse 6 was, I want to shine light on that because it says, for the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the ungodly shall perish. So that's verse 6 is in effect when Cain and Abel became of age. Because he knew where Cain came from. And when Cain became 12 and came to go make his offering, he ain't accepted. But it says Abel, verse 6 said the Lord knows the way of the righteous. Well, what is Abel's name? He's righteous Abel. What was Enoch? What was the thing with Enoch? He was righteous. He was so righteous the reason he was taken up. And Michael told him that you, the Son of Man, and righteous abideth on you, and on your descendants forever. So how can somebody else come and now all of a sudden all the righteousness is on them? When he just told this angel, the first one that was formed, told Enoch that he is the man, son of righteousness. He's the Son of Man, and righteousness is going to abide on him. So when any time one of his descendants get hold to these scriptures, before they tamper with them, they was going to know that Enoch was the son of righteousness. When they read it. When you think of righteousness, you're going to immediately go to Enoch. But that was taken away from us until recently when like the Most High said, he's going to help us. And the book of Enoch came back to us. And Jasher and Jubilees and a lot of these other books that's coming back. We just recently got Cain, the book of Lamech of Cain. Yeah. Cain or Lamech, whatever how you say it. Let me see if I say it right now. The book of Lamech of Cain. Yeah. So, with that being said, does anybody have any comments before we get off the line?
Do you read the book of Adam and Eve?
Huh?
Do you read the book of Adam and Eve, although there is a hijack in it? Where it's
I reference that.
Do you, you saw that hijack?
Yeah, all of them been had.
It almost made me stop reading it. When I first started listening to it,
right,
and it was talking about the Most High saying that He was going to come down. It was referencing the New Testament, so I was like, oh no! But at the very beginning of it, though, it all resonated. It all made sense. It was all good up until the point where it was talking about the Most High saying that he was going to come down himself, and they were trying to tie that New Testament in.
Right.
So that made me want to kind of throw it away. But everything else, though, was good.
Right. Right. They try to tie in, they try to put baptism in there and all that by putting
They're trying to bring in JC. That's what they were doing.
Right, right. But anyway, if you go to Genesis chapter 5, I'm gonna show you something right quick. Everybody go to Genesis chapter 5. That's the name of the book of Genesis. That's not the original name of it. This is the thing they concocted with us. So you got it?
Yeah.
Chapter 5, verse 1. This is the book of the generation of Adam. That's the name of the book. It's not Genesis. See that?
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of the generation of Adam. That's what we're reading over there. The book of Adam and Eve. But they don't want you. They revived it and hoodwinked it, and this is what they gave us. But it's actually the book of Adam and Eve, and there's a whole lot more entailed in it than this. Yeah. Okay. So, anybody else got any comments? Something they want to say? Yeah. So let me turn this off. Oh yeah. Yeah. Let me turn this off.